Welcome back to Seek First to Understand. Today, I am here with my friend Angie, and we were discussing recently that while we have known each other a long time, we don't know each other all that well. So I'm excited to get to know you better. Angie and I play in the same Pokeno group that we've been in for 2016.
Years.
Long-
16? Like 16 years?
Okay, long time.
Yeah.
I moved away and came back, but you guys have had the same group for that
The
whole
entire
period of
time.
time,
Yeah.
which is awesome. And Angie and I have our best conversations. We go to Broken Bow every year as a girls group, and we have our best conversations hiking on trails in Broken Bow. So much so that we got lost one time, and we're like, I hope we can get back to the cabin.
We found our way back.
Yes. So we're gonna treat today like a walk in the woods. And Angie, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Angie. I have 3 kids. I have Madison, who's 18, almost 19,
And
and
at
a
college,
freshman in college. Super scary. I have Austin. He's 16, a junior in high school, so still trying to figure out his next steps. And then I have Emerson. She's 11, and she keeps me young. Going.
yes, which is awesome. And Angie and I both grew up in Wiley. That's why we've known each other. But you graduated 2 years before me.
1 year, 98.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
That was 99.
Okay.
We just didn't run in the same circles.
We have mutual friends, but you
Yes.
and I were not as much friends in high school. Just, I don't know. But some of our Pokeno people now are mutual friends that we had when we were in high school.
Yes, because you and Leslie have been friends since you were little because your
Right.
moms were friends?
Yes, we grew up down the street from each other. I moved in when I was 3, so she was 2, and her sister Amy was 4. 'Cause
Okay.
I was in the middle of them, so
You just always
friends
been.
almost our whole lives.
That's so cool. Okay. So you have a husband
I do. Yep.
and you've
Jason.
been married for how long?
It will be 20 years this year, in August. It'll be our 20th.
That's exciting. Do you have something fun planned?
We're hoping to.
Okay.
He wants to go to the mountains. I wanna go to the beach, so we're still trying to figure out.
I'm a beach girl too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so trying to figure out what we wanna do.
And he is like me and doesn't like to travel.
Right, he does not like to travel. Most of my traveling is done by myself. I'm gonna do a solo trip for my birthday, a one-day solo trip to San Diego.
Okay.
I'm in March, but which I'm excited about. People think that's weird, but I'm super excited. But usually I either travel by myself or travel with him or with the kids. He does better if it's just he and I. He has a lot of anxiety when we travel with the kids. So
Okay.
it's better to travel with him if it's just he and I.
So for your anniversary, you will
It'll
do
be fun.
something just
Yeah.
the two of you.
Just the two of
That's
us.
super fun. Okay. So, and growing up in Wiley, you are an only child.
I am. Yep.
So how do you feel like that shaped you?
Yeah, I mean, if you asked my daughter, she would say only children are spoiled, and that's, the common thing that people say. I would say no, I don't feel like I was spoiled. My parents taught me a lot about working hard, and I got some things, like I got a vehicle and I got things like that because my parents didn't have other kids to support. But I also worked. I started working at Taco Delight when I was 15, and worked there until I went away to college. Went to college, didn't work my first year, but then worked full-time jobs after that and put myself through college. So I don't feel like I was spoiled. I did get a little more than others because there wasn't others to support. But I also have a big extended family, so I grew up with a lot of cousins and very close to my cousins. So I feel like I wasn't an only child because of that. I mean, there were moments where I was an only child, but I had a lot of family.
Yeah, it's interesting at when we get together for Pokeno because you'll talk about cousins, and because some of the people in the group have known you for so long, y'all all know each other's family. And there's times I'm like, I have no idea
Yeah.
who y'all are talking about, but it's very obvious that your family is important and you're very plugged in with all of your extended
Yeah.
family.
I would say growing up, that was a key thing that my mom and dad instilled. Like, we were close as a family unit, just the 3 of us, because it was just the 3 of us. But we also were very close to our extended family. My dad didn't have a lot of family. He had just his brother and then his mom died when I was pretty young. But that was something that was important. When my grandpa was alive, we were very close to him. We traveled to Oklahoma, saw him frequently. My mom, though, has 6 brothers and sisters.
Oh, wow.
So I had a lot of cousins. One was local, but most were Iowa, Wisconsin. So we did lots of family trips with family, and so that was instilled at an early age that family was important to me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And along the family lines, your dad passed away when you were how old?
I was, gosh, that was in 2011. So I was 31.
Okay.
Yes, he had a stroke in 2001. So I was 21.
Okay.
When he first had his stroke, he had high blood pressure, just kind of not the greatest life choices for his health. And so at the age of 55, he he had a pretty massive stroke. We weren't sure if he was gonna make it through. He did, survive for 10 years after that.
At home, like he got to
Yes.
be at home.
My
Okay.
mom yes, my mom worked from home, so she was able to take care of him, and that's one thing my mom taught me was how to I mean, man, she gave a lot to my dad, and my dad knew it, and he appreciated it, but my mom just I mean, she gave up her life to take care of him and did for 10 years, but towards the end, he always had pain, but his pain got really significant. He started getting pneumonia all the time, so, he just got to a point where, his body just couldn't take that anymore.
Okay. And so when your dad passed away, though, you were married and already had
2 kids.
2 kids.
Mhm.
Okay. So you had started your own life at that
Yes.
point. And tell me again, I know your husband a little bit. Um, how did you guys meet?
So we met, at Southern Junction at a bar.
Love it.
Yeah,
Hey, did not know that.
but it was the night of our mutual friend Michelle, when Michelle and Doug got married. So I had been in her wedding, and after the wedding, a bunch of us went to Southern Junction. And so my hair was done, my makeup was done, and my eyelashes were done. So I was looking my best. And we went out there, which we'd gone out, we were frequent flyers. We went out there a lot. My husband was a frequent flyer too. I didn't know him. We had never crossed paths.
Okay.
And he kept dancing around the dance floor with
Yes.
a
Again, I
different
don't know him well, but I do
Yes.
know that he's a dancer.
yeah, with a different person every time. And he would look at me and tip his hat, and I was like, whatever. And I was sitting next to another friend's husband. And when he got up to go to the bathroom, Jason kind of like beelined it to me and asked me to dance. And he said, "Is that your husband?" And I'm like, "Well, that's awfully brave of you
To come talk to me if that was
you
my
thought that was
husband.
my husband." I'm like, "No, that is not my husband." And we danced every single dance after that together. He didn't dance with another person that night. And
The rest is history.
yeah, the rest is history, really. It went really fast after that. That was in May. We got engaged in November. We got married the next August, had our first baby the following February. So life went really fast after that.
And where is he from?
Rockwall.
Okay. So still local, and his family is
Yep.
still local.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So the reason, I mean, just to get to know you is why I wanted you on the
Yeah.
podcast today too. But you have had some weight. You've been on a weight journey.
Yes.
I don't know the right words to say, Angie.
Yeah.
So, at what point in your life, like, was it after having babies that you just, because I know a lot of us after having babies, our bodies change and we carry a little extra weight after that. Or at what point for you did you kind of talk to me?
Yeah. So I would say probably even in my teen years, pretty much my whole life that I can remember, I was always chunkier, heavier, more, overweight than some of my other, friends. When I got to college, that first year, really gained some weight. I was not working and doing a lot of partying, a lot of eating out, and really packed on weight. And that probably is when I started this cycle of dieting, that culture back then. Cut your calories, do more cardio, and you do that for, 2, 3 days, and it's not sustainable. And then you gain weight again. And then, so that started probably obviously until 2022, started a vicious cycle of just constantly starting over, constantly trying, always trying to focus on losing weight, being a little successful, but nothing that was sustainable, gaining it back, and just gradually over time. And then having kids, just gaining a little more and more and more and more. Um,
I want to go back and ask too. So, growing up in my household, we didn't we didn't talk about food. We didn't talk about working out. I never saw my parents work out, which again, different time period of
Right.
the world, right? But were those ever things that were discussed in your household? Were you aware of your weight as a teenager? Did your parents ever comment? No.
no, no, it was, yeah, that was never a part of it. My mom, my family, extended family, so naturally a little bit more overset, or overweight, but it was never like looked at. We never talked about it. My mom did the same thing. She would diet at different times, but obviously never would mention that. Like, I mean, I knew she was doing it, but it was never anything that she would say, like, you need to do this. And, we ate um, at home a lot, not necessarily super healthy, a lot of
Mhm.
processed food. But,
Mhm.
I just felt like, I mean, during that time, that was fairly normal.
Yes.
Um, you know, but
I
If
feel
you
the same, like, a lot of what we ate growing up was out of a box, out of a can, out of the freezer, like,
Yeah,
it was and my parents both worked, so it was, "What can we get on the table quickly?"
right.
Right?
Yep, so both
So
my parents worked. My mom worked out of the home for a period of time, worked, close really close for the school district for a period of time, and then worked at home then, later when I was in high school and stuff. But, yeah, it was just I mean, we ate at home a lot. We ate out some, but nothing like what our culture does today.
mhm,
But what we ate was not super healthy either.
okay. So, yo-yo dieting, if
Yes.
you will, for a while, and then at some point, you start having some pretty severe back pain.
Yes. So in 2019, I made a huge career shift, left the healthcare industry. Well, when I went to college, I got a degree in business just more so because I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
And then when I got out of college, my dad had had a stroke, and I started my first job working at a brain injury rehab facility, which was super, I was passionate about because my dad had had a
Mhm.
stroke. I worked in their marketing department, which aligned with a business degree. And then they had an opening for a case manager. And I was like, I can do that. Like, I live this life. Like, let me do it. They're like, you're not a social worker. You're not a nurse. I was like, so? Like, I know what to do, and so they're like, "Okay." So that's kind of how I got into doing that. Loved it, did it for 15 years. It's a lot of burnout, and so then decided it was time to change careers. So went kind of more back into the business world, which was sitting at a desk all the time. A job I mean, complete career change, so I had no idea what I was doing. So hours on ends, 10, 12, 13 hours a day, sitting at my desk, literally sitting at my desk, barely getting up to
At
do
home or
anything.
in an
At
office?
home. So I
Okay.
came home, which most people think is great, which it was, and it is, and huge blessing, and would hope to never have to go back anywhere
Mhm.
else. But I was sitting and sitting and sitting, and started having back pain. So then getting into 2020, my back really started to bother me. So I went and saw a doctor, and I have what a lot of people are born with, which is where your last vertebrae is fused to your pelvic bone.
Hmm.
And a lot of people are born that way, and it doesn't bother you till you get into your 70s and 80s and you're less mobile. But because I became very immobile by sitting, it's kind of arthritic, and that just flared up. And I did injections every 3, 4 months as often as the insurance would approve for them, all through 2020 with as, little to no relief. But, was just doing it, and the surgeon would say, "You need to lose weight." I was the heaviest I'd ever been at that point in my life.
Do you wanna share that number?
I was 250,
Okay.
and I'm 5'4", just for reference.
Okay.
So that was a lot of weight on my back that I was carrying, and he kept saying, "You need to lose weight." And I was like, I can't walk. I can't move without
Right.
hurting." I was in the vicious, tried drastic things for a day, 2, 3 days, and then that's not sustainable. So then you go back, and was contemplating back surgery. And he said, I can do it. It might help. It could make it worse." And I was pretty depressed in life at that point.
I I wanna say here, and again, I'm no expert and know nothing, but I think good on the doctor for again, to your point, you need to lose weight. Well, how am I supposed to lose weight when I can't move because I'm in so much pain? And again, a lot of doctors would go, "I'll do the surgery because I'm gonna make money if I do
Mhm.
the surgery." So on a lot of levels, good for him for being honest with you about, "Hey, some of this is because you're carrying this extra weight," and for not, doing a surgery just for the sake of doing a surgery.
Right, and so that kinda ties into I talked to my cousin a lot about, and she obviously knew I was struggling with my weight, with my pain. Obviously, everybody knew I was in a lot of pain. I mean, I was kinda withdrawing from everything in life because just to stand hurt. Um, and we talked about this having weight loss surgery, and it kind of in my mind, I was like, "That's probably people who weigh, like, 400 pounds." Like, I don't weigh 400 pounds. Like, I don't need to have this surgery. But started researching it, and then I thought, "I'm gonna ask the surgeon," but I was like, "He's gonna laugh at me because he wants my money. He wants me to
Mhm.
eventually have surgery with him." So I did go see him and said, "What would you think if I had weight loss surgery?" He said, "I think that's a fabulous idea." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Like, this is good." And he said, "When you have it," I was at that point, I think I maybe had it scheduled. I would think I saw him, like, in January. I had it scheduled for February. He said, "Why don't you come back and see me in July, and we'll see where
See
we're at."
where your pain is at and everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so that was kind of my, like, support of my family, cousin, my husband obviously was a huge supporter of it. My mom, everybody was like, "Yeah." So I did it.
And again, just to talk about your husband for a second, Your husband is a naturally thin man,
Yes.
just with extremely high metabolism? Like,
Oh, yeah, I think so. I mean, it comes from it naturally. His, I said it was normal for us to eat processed food. He didn't grow up eating processed food. They grew
oh,
up with a little bit healthier habits. I will tell you a funny story. When he and I first met, we ordered a pizza and he ate like one piece and he was like, "Oh, I'm so full." And I was like, "Oh, like I can't eat another piece now because that makes me look bad." But I could have eaten the whole pizza. Just he grew up with a different mentality of like, as soon as you feel full, you stop eating, and he still is that way. He can get a bag of M&Ms that can last him a week. I get a bag of M&Ms that lasts me 5 minutes. Just a very different mentality.
yeah,
So he naturally is thinner just because he tends to
yeah.
have a little bit healthier habits there.
And I bring that up merely because there are some couples who go through their weight loss journeys together, right? They both struggle, they can support each other and help. Your husband's supportive just because he's a supportive dude, not because he's had the same struggles as you.
Right. He obviously saw me suffering in pain. So if it was going to help me not be in pain, he wanted to do that. And he will remind me, he gently, but he has been a supporter all these years. And if I am getting a little off track or whatnot, he knows that if I eat bad things, like bad foods or drink a lot of sodas or do things like that, that brings back my back pain. And, gently, he will say, like, don't remember, like, that will lead you down a bad path. And that's been helpful.
Yeah. I think it's important to realize too that you had a big why, and your big why for the surgery was, I know what that pain felt like, and I don't want to go back there.
Right.
So for some people, if it's, I don't want to say just a weight thing, but if it's just a weight thing, they go, nah, I'm fine with it, right? I'm not 400 pounds, so I'm fine carrying this extra weight, even though it's extra pressure on your back and your knees, and we all know better. But for you, you have a very clear
Yes, the
why.
pain was a huge why, obviously never wanna go back to that. Um, my dad was another big why. My dad had high blood pressure and didn't take care of himself. He was a kinda more naturally thin person as well, but didn't have great, habits either, and had a stroke at 55. And so when I was at my heaviest and struggling and in pain, like, that was always in the back of my mind of, like, I've had high blood pressure most of my, adult life and have had to take medication for it even still after losing
Mhm.
weight. I still have to, which frustrates me, but,
Yes,
it's just one of those things.
I'm in that boat also.
Um,
Yeah.
but I knew that was another thing that I had. I just didn't wanna risk going through that. Obviously, you can't always control everything, but if I had things in my control, I wanted to make sure I was, keeping myself healthy.
So you did some research. You asked a doctor, not the weight loss doctor, but a different doctor, and he said, "Go for it." Your husband said, "Go for it." Was there any more that went into the decision of, "Okay, I'm doing this"?
No, it was pretty quick. It was the end of the year, like November-ish, whenever I started talking about it. I knew I actually had to switch insurance plans in order to have good coverage for it. So
Uh-oh.
I knew I had to wait till 2022 to do it because I knew I needed to change insurance plans to have the coverage. And so I did that. So right after January 1st, I, was in there with I'd already, I think, seen the surgeon who was going to do the surgery and they knew I had to wait. But as soon as January 1st hit, I was like, all right, get the approval.
How did you find the right surgeon?
I kinda just picked one.
Okay.
There's a lot of them out there, so I just read up on them, looked at different testimonies,
So just online
Mhm.
research. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know if they were referred to you by somebody or no.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and then ironically, my dad was a big, just not wanting to have a stroke, but then ironically, I had my surgery on his birthday. He had passed away at that point, but I think it was like his 70th, would have been his 76th birthday. Um, maybe not that, but
Did you
anyways,
pick
I
that day with that in mind?
no, they called me and just, said, "These are the dates we have. This is the soonest we can do." And I was like, "Okay. Yeah, I'll take that day." And I'm like, that's my dad's birthday, but that's good. I'll do it, you know?
So you had surgery in
February
February.
28th of 2022.
Okay. And what is the recovery from that? Like, how long did you have to be in a hospital? How much time did you have to take off work? What does that look like?
It was so you don't well, I was not in the hospital. Some people do stay a night or 2
Mm.
in the hospital. I did not. I came home the same day. I can't remember. But even before you get to the recovery, there's a prep. There's a 2-week prep. Now, some people go through a pretty extensive prep of they have to go through like psychological stuff and things like that. And that's typically people that are maybe a lot heavier, maybe older, have more, like other health issues. But I didn't have all of that, so I didn't have to go through that extensive kind of prep. But I did have to do the surgical 2-week prep, which is is all liquid diet for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Um,
Tell us exactly. So I have a little bit of knowledge of this I've shared with you. My dad had surgery and and years ago, he had a sleeve
mhm.
and he kind of learned how to work around the sleeve.
Yep.
So he did lose in the beginning and then he put back on weight and then he finally decided to have
A revision.
a revision,
Mhm.
if that's what, again, I don't know all the terms.
Yep.
Um, and if for him, he had to go to a support group ahead of time and he had to meet with people. And I think maybe because he was older, they wanted to make sure that he was still a good candidate for this. And so he had to do some of that. And it's been great for him. Um, so that's what the surgery is called that you had done. Can you
The
tell us a little bit about that,
Yeah.
what it actually is?
So it's the gastric sleeve. So basically, they just remove a portion of your stomach. So it's significantly smaller than a normal stomach. They remove the hunger hormone, part of like the ghrelin, the part of your hunger that makes you feel hungry all the
Okay.
time. So the way that then people work around it is you eventually can stretch your stomach out. You
Hmm.
just push it and push it and push it. You'll hear a lot of people say, after the surgery, they throw up a lot or they do this, which I didn't have any of that because I hate being sick.
Hmm. Hmm.
So if I got anywhere close to that, I was done. I quit eating. But that's people will push through it, and so then it stretches it out, and it's probably never going to be as big as it was, but it can just kind of push through it, and then I don't know if the hunger hormone ever can come back per se, but I mean, I feel hungry. I definitely have
Yeah.
hunger. So I don't know if it comes back with time. I don't really know how that part of it works.
Okay.
But that's the surgery is they basically they just kind of shrink your stomach. And the idea is you learn then how to eat smaller portions and then you learn all these other life things that you're supposed to do to be successful with it.
Do they give you those tools to be successful with it? Like, after the surgery, are they just like, "Here you go, best of luck to you," or what does that look
Um,
like?
I think there's different programs that probably offer different support. I was pretty successful after it and from the beginning, so I didn't really take much advantage of some of that support. I had more of my own support,
Mhm.
with my family in place. But there's programs, they do support groups. I've had another family member who's had the surgery, and I know for a period of time he was attending like the support groups. There's Facebook groups, and so I watched those for a long time, and would ask questions there. So
Okay.
there's a lot of different levels
There's
of
different
support
resources
to
out there.
teach you. There's cookbooks on how to, cook food to be, after you've had a bariatric surgery. There's again Instagram accounts you can follow. So I mean, there's tons of resources out there. You have to kind of pick what you need and what level you need.
So, you have the surgery in February,
Mhm.
you come home, I guess I mean, like, how does that just switch your brain, right?
Right.
Like, you just go, "Man, I just put in the time and money and did this to my body. I gotta keep up with this."
Yeah.
But there's also some switching that has to happen in your brain.
Yeah. So the 2-week prep is an all liquid diet. And so my back pain went away. Going into surgery, the day I went into surgery, I had no pain. And so there was this moment of like, what am I doing? I'm about to have this major surgery and now I don't have pain. And I knew that that was because my pain was all inflammation related. And for 2 weeks, I was on a liquid diet and the inflammation significantly improved. So my back pain improved.
But a liquid diet's not sustainable.
Right. I couldn't do that forever. And so obviously I was already there. So I had the surgery. You're still on a liquid diet for a period of time after it. Just obviously because you're healing, your stomach has a huge incision. So you're having to heal that. I can't remember how long you're on a liquid diet for. And then you graduate to like pureed diet and then you eventually, get back to regular diet. But um,
So, let me ask a question there too. So, what is that like that your liquid diet, but you have a husband and 3
mhm.
kids that you're cooking meals for, yes?
Yes, yes. Which again, my husband's supportive, my mom was supportive. So I think it was 4 years ago, so I don't remember all the details. I don't feel like that was a huge issue for me. Like I feel like they were more in the kitchen doing those things. My mom
Okay.
was around a lot to help. Make sure that everybody had food so I didn't have to. I was doing just a lot of broth, but you're also like you're recovering from a surgery in general, a big surgery, and you're sleeping, you're recovering, you aren't really that hungry initially. And then you just drink, little bit of fluid will make you
You feel
full. I mean, I do remember the very beginning, I mean, 2 ounces. Like, you were just like, you had something next to you and you were doing like 2 ounces, like
which I'm like,
every
that's 2
30.
shots, right? A
Yeah.
shot of something is an ounce.
Yes.
So, okay, that's
So, I mean, you can't do a lot. And so I don't remember it being a big issue having to tend to my family and
were there
myself.
conversations had with your kids ahead of time of like, "Hey, mom's gonna have this is what it looks like," so they were
Yes.
prepared?
Yeah, and they were aware, and obviously they were aware of how bad I was as far as my back pain, and just I mean, I had really stepped back from life. Like, I was just going through the motions of bare minimum. I mean, I quit going to the grocery store. I don't go to the grocery store now, even though I could because I don't like to, but, um, I was ordering online before COVID happened just because I couldn't, stand to go to the grocery store. I started, just only watching church online. I remember I'd pull up to the church and let the kids go in to go to church, but I would sit in the vehicle and watch it online because it was too one, I couldn't stand to worship. I didn't wanna get caught talking to somebody in the foyer and then not be able like, be in such significant pain that I would start crying. So I just quit going in. I started just kinda really pulling back from
Mhm.
things because I was just in too much pain. My kids saw that,
Yeah.
so they knew that this surgery was not all about weight, but weight so that I could be healthier.
So, and again, you have 2 daughters.
Mhm.
So, and you said growing up, weight wasn't really discussed. Do you have conversations with your daughters around weight or just healthy eating or healthy habits, or what does that look like
Ye
raising them?
Yeah, no, we don't talk about weight. I talk to them about healthy habits. My youngest is a dancer, and so we talk a lot about why you need to have protein, why you need to eat healthy, because if you are healthy and you have an injury, you can recover. Well, first of all, you maybe won't have an injury, but if you do and you have a healthy body, you can recover a lot faster. Um, Same thing with my oldest daughter and with my son. It's just about moderation. Like, we don't have to cut anything specifically out. We have to moderate what we have, but we need to focus on protein, makes your body strong. Talk about, just food in the way of how our body needs the fuel and how that's what we need. So never about weight or anything like
Right.
that.
When,
Yeah.
and scales are the worst.
Yes.
Um, so since the surgery, you have obviously lost a again, it's not about weight, but you've
Mhm.
lost a fair amount of weight. But I feel like your life has done a complete 180
Yes.
because of this. So just talk to me about I mean, again, I see you travel with your kids and you're doing all the things now.
Yes.
So again, just tell me a little bit about and I see that you are working out regularly.
Right.
So what does that look like now?
So I would say in the beginning it was about my back, about just being healthy, but I don't know that I really knew what that meant at that
Okay.
point when I first did this or even in the first year or 2. Um, and it was about the scale. Like, I didn't wanna weigh 250. I wanted to be able to wear a smaller size, clothes. I wanted to feel good in the clothes I was wearing.
Was there a number though, not to be about weight, but, was there a number that you're like, "Man, when I see that
Oh, yeah.
number, it's gonna be awesome."
Yeah, and I've definitely surpassed that number, which is mind-blowing to me. There was both a size of clothes number and there was a scale number that in my head, I was like, "If I could just get there," and I'm I'm way past both those numbers, so, which is just mind-blowing
Yeah,
when I see it.
but again, it's not just, "Oh, I've cut the amount of foo" like,
Mhm.
I eat less food. There's
I
way more to it
Oh, yeah. I
than
eat
that.
way more food now. Different kind of food, but I eat way more food now. But so yes, life is very different. It started out just, "Let's get this number on the scale down. Let's, not have pain, and let's be healthier." Again, not knowing what that meant to be healthier. And that worked. The first, 9 months to a year, I dropped weight pretty quickly, pretty significantly, and was just walking. I did know I needed to walk, and so I started that really early. I mean, even when I was still just on a liquid diet. But I would walk like, we live, like, 6 doors down from our community pool, and I would walk to the pool and back, so that's 6 doors down. And that's what I would do. And then I just kind of gradually added, and now I could easily walk 8 or 9 miles in one day at one time. I walk about 3 miles every day, but I could walk. Our friend Jennifer and I one day, she was like, "Hey, you wanna go do this walk with me?" It was on Memorial Day. I'm like, "Yeah, sure." It was a 9-mile walk, and I did it, 'cause I can.
Yes.
Um, but
Which does that just in itself being able to say, "I can,"
Mhm.
that's an accomplishment.
Yes. because not a lot of people can, if you haven't, and I wasn't like walking as regularly back then. So it was a lot to, yeah, I felt it for sure the next day, um,
But at some
but I
point,
wasn't in pain. Like my back wasn't hurting. It wasn't
right,
that kind of pain.
right. It
Uh,
was just the normal
muscles
person
of,
walked 9
yeah.
miles pain.
Even if I did it
Yes.
today, my muscles would be sore. But yeah, so when I first started this, that's what it was about, was more just that. So the first year, like I said, it was really easy. The weight kind of just fell off, which it does. And that's where you'll hear a lot of people say that's the easy way out, because it does. That first year, it did definitely. It wasn't a ton of effort. It was pretty easy that first year. And then after that first 80 pounds ish, I kind of stalled, and habits kind of were good, but not great. Like, again, I was not one to push my stomach. I was not gonna throw up. I was not gonna do that. So I wasn't able to eat as much. So therefore, my weight just stayed. Like, I wasn't gaining weight back. I had lost weight. I was getting a lot of great feedback from people of, "You look great." Like, and I was at that, 80-pound mark, but that was not the number that I had, that I wanted to be at. I knew I wanted to lose more. And
Did you, through that and even now, do you deny yourself, like, if there is something that you want, do you let yourself have it?
yes, I do not, there's nothing I don't eat.
Okay.
Um,
It's just a smaller amount. Like,
yes,
you have
and it's it with more intention.
okay.
I don't just eat it because I can and because it's there.
Mhm.
Um, I'm gonna eat a cake for my kids' birthdays or my birthday, and I'm gonna eat a small portion of it.
Mhm.
But I'm not gonna just eat cookies just because they're sitting on the table today. That's just I just but occasionally I might, like,
Yeah.
and I eat M&Ms. I like M&Ms.
Okay.
But again, I have to be
Plain or
careful.
plain or peanut?
Well, peanut butter is my
Ooh,
favorite.
mine too. Okay, yes, those are the best.
So, road trips, I don't deny myself my peanut butter M&Ms on road
Okay.
trips.
Okay. So, sorry, we were talking life looks different.
Yeah, so yeah, I would say then I kinda stalled for a period of time and
Mhm.
just was living life, which was fine. I was not in pain, but I knew I wanted to do more. That was when I started, looking into a gym, a fairly, um, special gym. It's kind of, I guess, considered like a boutique gym.
Okay.
It's in Rowlett, so it was close to home, but still a drive, and I'd followed them on Instagram for a long time. Was super nervous, never lifted weights. Like, that's not anything I've ever really done. I was always a cardio. If I was gonna exercise, that was cardio. But I was like, "Let me give this a try," and it was super intimidating, but they were amazing.
So, did you get a personal trainer, or they have classes, or how to
It's a mix. So
Okay.
it's very unique. He has a great program. Highly recommend. It's Rowlett Transformation Center.
Okay, that's
They're
awesome.
they're amazing. And he's got it where you sign up for a time to come in with like 8 people. So there's windows throughout the day, and only 8 people at a time can come in. You have your own individualized plan that they're doing. So he gets to know you. He writes you a workout plan, and there's 1 to 2 trainers in there with the 8 people. And so they're you're doing your own thing. Everybody's doing their own thing, but
Like, you
they're
kinda have
there.
a
You have a plan to
plan for the
follow.
day. Like,
Mhm.
these are your exercises.
Yep.
People are walking around making sure you're doing them
Helping you with
correct.
form and things
Okay.
like that. So that was huge for me. Like, they taught me so much. I learned a lot about form. I learned a lot about just strength training. They help you with nutrition. There was that accountability of, you sign up for a window and you don't want to not show up because other
You're
people.
taking someone else's spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I did that for about a year and lost another 20-ish pounds during that time and learned a ton. Obviously, it's not super close to home. My schedule with kids' schools changed. Very expensive, to have that kind of, specialty
Mhm.
gym, and so needed to make a change, so found a gym closer to home, and felt more confident at that point, and
Because someone had taught you
yes.
what you needed.
And I've had
Yes.
people at my current gym now comment on my form of like, "Wow, you have, like, really good form," and and a lot of that goes back to, I was taught from the very beginning how to have really good form.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And you also, like you said, you walk about 3 miles every
Mhm.
day. You do that all at once? You take a couple of walks throughout the day?
It depends. If I can get it all in the morning, I do, but my life is crazy,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I don't always get it done. So sometimes it looks like a 1-mile walk for 15 minutes, right, between a call, and then I've got another break between another call, and I run out and I go walk again for another, even half a mile sometimes, but usually ends up to be about 3 miles during the day.
And I also know you, prior to the surgery and after, you use, am I wrong? Is it plexus?
Plexus. Yep.
Okay. And has that That has been a help for you as well?
Yes. So plexus is the founding of gut health, which is now
All the
everywhere,
rage, yes,
everywhere.
yes.
And so yes, even before surgery, I use their products and they're good. They're good. They're clean products. They're just good products. They've been a significant role after just because gut health is good and you need to stay regular. And obviously now I focus a lot more on protein and you need to be regular if you're eating a lot of protein. And so their products help with that.
Yeah.
And you are not supposed to have carbonation after these surgeries. I do, but my favorite product of theirs is their drink, their active drink, which has caffeine and is a good, clean type of energy versus like a Celsius or a soda.
Yeah.
So I do that daily as part of my daily, routine, but I do still drink a carbonated drink here and there
Okay.
because I like them.
What do you what do you say? Because there's people listening or people out there that are like, if you would have worked out like you're working out now and ate like you ate now, you wouldn't have needed to have this surgery,
Yeah.
right? Obviously, you had back pain that prohibited you from doing that, but do you feel like the surgery was just the kickstart that you needed?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And I agree. A lot of people think that if you have this surgery, you're taking the easy way out. If you use a GLP-1, you're taking the easy way out. Is not true. There's a lot of people who have this surgery or use a GLP-1 and they are not successful. It's not going to do the work for you. You have to do the work. There are tools in your toolbox
Mhm.
to help you. I've used a lot of tools in my toolbox over the time. I have used Plexus. I had the surgery. I have used a GLP-1. I use other supplements. I use Plexus. I went to Rowlett Transformation Center. I have a group on Instagram that I'm very involved in that now is where I get my workouts from. So it's a tool. All of it's a tool, and you have to do your research. You have to know how it works, but it's not going to do the work for you. You have to put in the work.
Has it changed the way that you cook?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Even if I asked Emerson the other day, what do you notice about me? What's different? She goes, well, we don't get to eat out all the time anymore. Because we were a fast food family. I mean,
Okay.
we were eating out, you know, multiple times a week in multiple meals. One, I was in so much pain. I didn't want to stand and cook. I couldn't stand to cook. So we were ordering food. We were going to the drive-through to get food. And not that we don't do that still, or they don't. I don't nearly as
Yeah.
much, but they still do it from time to time. But
Are you a meal prepper?
I need to be. I want to be.
No.
I try to be. I'm not as consistent with it as I should be.
I just I love the idea of that and having it, like, done, but then there's also part of me that's like, "That means I have to eat that." Like,
Yeah.
what if that
What if
time rolls
that's
around
not
and I'm like,
yeah.
"That's not what I wanna eat."
Well, and I will tell you, like, I've tried to do breakfast. So last week I did prepped some, like, egg bite things, and that was great, and I ate those all week. And then this week I've prepped some oatmeal, like overnight oats. But this morning, I was like, I don't really feel like that." So I am a believer in you eat whatever meal you wanna eat. So I had, like, what I would have eaten for lunch for breakfast,
Okay.
but then I had my overnight oats for lunch.
Okay.
So 'cause
I've recently started doing overnight oats, and I enjoy them, but then there's times you walk in and you're like this morning, I would have loved to have had some overnight oats, but I didn't prep them yesterday, so I didn't get to have them, and
Yeah,
that's why you have to plan ahead a little bit.
yeah.
So, um, do you have people that comment, people who haven't seen you in a little while, or what are the comments that you get that are encouraging, and what are the comments that you get that you're like, "Probably could have done without that comment?"
Yeah. So I I get lots of encouraging comments. Lots of people who say, "Oh, you look great. You're doing a great job." I would say the most frustrating comment, which is interesting because I probably was one of these people before, when they're like, "Oh, you look so skinny," or "Are you done losing weight?" Like, you know, I get it. Like in saying somebody looks skinny is a compliment. Like I get that. Like some people I've said that before too, or must be nice to be that skinny, or something like that. But somebody who doesn't know me and doesn't know what I've been through for sure has no idea, like, what I do to be where I'm at right now, the
Mhm.
amount of work I put into it. Um, but the people who do know it, like, again, they're just like, "Oh," or, "You need to stop losing weight." They're used to seeing me at 125 pounds heavier than I am now. So I do look really, really skinny to them. And I agree. I don't need to lose any more weight. I'm not in this anymore to lose. It's the first time in my life I'm not trying to lose weight. Um which is amazing and feels great, but doesn't mean I don't have goals. Doesn't mean that I'm not still staying the course and making really good, healthy choices because I have other goals. My goal for this year is to recomp my body a little bit, which is to lose fat, but to gain muscle. So I'm not chasing that number on the scale anymore.
Mhm.
Chasing a few other numbers, but not on the scale. um,
Do you feel like you were a goal-oriented person prior to?
I mean, wanted to be a goal-oriented person and always kinda had that lofty goal in my head, but not like I am now. I have some really specific goals for 2026, and they are written down and
That's huge.
yeah,
Like, there's, again, science behind actually writing them
yes.
down, and then yeah,
And they're
that's
goals that are like to do 5 pull-ups. Never would I have dreamed to have that as a goal in my life before, but and 5 pull-ups might not sound like a lot over the course of a
oh,
year, but I can't do any right now. I can
yeah.
barely hang from the bar right now. So, that's a goal, to be able to do 10, consecutive push-ups is a goal. So,
Do you have do you find yourself setting goals outside of the fitness side of
mm,
things too?
yeah. Yeah, and just yeah, being more writing them down, just being more intentional about I would say that's probably the biggest thing that's changed in my life is I'm just a more intentional person now. I'm intentional about what I eat, intentional about how I move my body, intentional about how I spend my time, intentional about, the goals I'm working on. I think that's probably a big thing that's changed.
And because you have changed not just physically, but mentally as well,
Yes.
how has that change affected those around you, right? Your kids, your husband, your mom, your family.
Yeah.
What do those relationships look like?
I will say, for my kids, the fun thing to see with them is when I first started working out at the local gym, Austin, he can go with me for free until he's 18. And so he hasn't as much lately, just he's super busy with working in school and extracurricular, but his interest in that and wanting to go, that was so fun. We had fun going to the gym together and hopefully we'll get back to that. It just isn't the season at the moment for that. Or Madison, one of her goals for this year was to eat more protein and to get some more movement in and to take advantage of the rec center at Tech and stuff like that. So that's fun to see. I know a lot of that's a direct reflection of what they've seen me do over the last couple years. Jason, he has started walking more. So
With
he
you or on his own?
both.
Okay.
If I can't go, he'll go by himself, but it is fun. We go together
Yeah.
sometimes, and he's kinda making healthier choices, but a lot of he's got high cholesterol, which people don't always think that people who are naturally thin have high cholesterol, but it runs in his family, and, so he's making healthy he wants to eat healthier, and so it makes cooking a little easier too, just knowing that,
Yeah.
everybody's on the same page, and the kids, if they don't like what I cook, they just eat whatever is
Yeah.
in the house
They're
for
old enough
them.
now, they can
Yeah,
figure it out.
fend for themselves.
Yes. Well, I think you're amazing. And again, I see your posts and stuff on Facebook and I'm like, you are up and at it in the morning and you're like, I got to get this stuff done before my day starts. And I think you're amazing. So great
Thank you.
job. Because I think you're the only person I've talked to that's actually listened to all my podcasts. So
Yes.
thank you for that. So, but you know that I end the show with opening the gate. So we don't want to be gatekeepers. We want to share. So tell others what you think is amazing and think they should know about.
So I would say currently, I'm reading this book. It's called The Mountain Is You, and it is about self-sabotage and how to overcome it. And I would
Weight related or just life in
life
general?
in general. And
Okay.
so when I first was reading it, I'm like, I kind of have this under control now. I don't need, I know how to, I'm not self-sabotaging in that way anymore. But it's a good book, and it can really make you go deep, and you realize there's a lot more, self-sabotaging with relationships,
Mm.
self-sabotaging in, your financial goals, self-sabotaging in promoting within your work or building a business or things like that. So it is a really good book, and I highly recommend it.
Okay. I also brought a book, and mine, ugh, this is probably the book I've gifted to the most people. Have you read this?
No, I
Okay,
have
well,
not.
I'm gonna gift you a copy of it
Okay.
then. Is Untamed by Glennon Doyle. Glennon has an interesting life and story. And this book I've read twice, and obviously it's marked right now. I probably started reading it again. I just It's a good, I would say, women's empowerment, but just knowing the tagline from this, we can do hard things, right?
Yeah.
So whether it's weight loss or all the things you're talking about that were self-sabotaging, it's just a good empowerment book.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. Well, thank you guys. We'll see you next time.